Okay, everyone. So we're gonna make another one today. Why not? These are pretty fun to make. I like making these videos, and they're not too bad. They're not too hard. So, um, all right, let's talk about this. What are you talking about? The left knows nothing about the Crusades. I actually talk about the Crusades quite a bit. I'm always citing it whenever I'm having arguments or conversations on threads, for example. It is an example. Aside from the fact that all the statistics point to the far right extremism being responsible for the most political violence in America, all the stats support that. I just had a debate over that with an old college friend of mine. Despite all that, I always cite the Crusades because the Crusades are a textbook example of Christian extremism, historically proven and documented, okay? Very, very important to understand that. So before even watching this is Michael Knowles' channel where he was on Piers Morgan recently. When is this? Oh, sorry, 8 months ago. Well, this is important because I think the Crusades are important to understand for both sides, for any side, whatever you believe in. You should know about that. It's a big event, big event in history, and is proof of Christian violence. The Christians they love violence. Religious extremism in general, no matter where it comes from, loves violence, because the idea behind religious extremism is I am going to make you believe in something that I believe in, and if you don't believe in it, I will kill you. That is fundamentally what drives radical Islam and jihadists. That is fundamentally what drives far right extremism, as far as from Christian sects. So let's watch this. Michael Knowles, Piers Morgan. I think it's Dave Rubin, and I don't know who those two are. Wajahat Ali. I'm assuming it's this person. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, yeah. Julie Roginski claims to know what they are. She clearly doesn't. So, okay. Clear. So basically, Piers, Michael, and Dave are going to kick their ass. Yeah, this is the format. Piers loves this. He'll bring on people that 100% agree with him, that he 100% agrees, and they will beat up on two people that are their ideological opposites, and they will completely misrepresent their points. I have a feeling these two will be misrepresented.
A whole litany of stuff there, almost all of which was put to Pete Hegseth. I thought he actually batted away all of that stuff. We got a clip actually of him batting away one. Let's take a look.
All they were out to do, Mr. Chairman, was to destroy me. And why do they want to destroy me? Because I'm a change agent and a threat to them, because Donald Trump was willing to choose me, to empower me, to bring the Defense Department back to what it really should be, which is warfighting. So I'm willing to endure these attacks. But what I will do is stand up for the truth and for my reputation. False attacks, anonymous attacks, repeated ad nauseum, printed as nauseum, as facts. We have.
Okay. One moment. I hear something in my hallway. One moment, please. Hello? I hear some mistakes being made and the dog's doing some bad things. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I forgot. I let one of my dogs go to the bathroom right now. I will get her shortly. We have a pretty nice backyard, so she likes to run around and play and chase animals and occasionally get the squirrels. Okay, so let's do this. Sorry for that. Yeah, did he have an affair? He did have an affair. So these things that I don't know the context of that conversation of what happened there, but I will say that these printed attacks against him aren't attacks if they're accurate. Okay? He admitted to having multiple affairs during his first marriage. This guy cannot keep it in his pants. The confession came as he is currently undergoing a Senate. Okay, this is the confirmation hearing. Okay, this 8 months ago. Makes sense. Got it. Okay, I just want to make sure. In December of 2024, Vanity Fair reported that Hegseth referred to himself as a fucked up individual. I mean, after confessing to cheating on his wife 5 times, I think it's pretty fucked up. I think it is. I don't think he's a good guy for that. I mean, if you don't want to call it fucked up, then what do you call it? Hegseth's mother, Penelope, discussed in an email she had written accusing her son of mistreating women. She spoke to the New York Times in 2024. stating that she now disavowed what she previously had written. Of course she did, because he's about to be one of the most powerful figures in America. I'm telling you right now, she's like, oh shit. She sees that as like a way to get her name out there. It makes her family look a little more legitimate. It makes her look like a good mother. Look at my son is successful. Like it's parents living vicariously through the lives of their kids. If someday I reach a level of success, like a high enough one to where like it's publicly recognized or whatever the case may be, my deadbeat of a father, I guarantee you, will have good things to say about it. Or he'll say that he was part of it, or I came from a good home, or some shit like that. I'm telling you right now, if you have shitty parents out there, if you do fucking well, there's a good chance they'll try to like slide in there and retract what they said about you or take credit for it. It's a playbook. It's an old school move from the deadbeat parent playbook. Okay. I want to see what the email is. Can we see it? Can we see something? Can we see some of the quotes maybe? Wait a minute. Where? Yeah. No Catholic, no Christian GI code pink. Okay. Okay, I mean, whatever. There's nothing there. Okay. Hexet in this first Maria were high school students from Minnesota, the 1998 graduating class, voted the most likely to marry. That's so cringe, dude. Oh my god, I'm so sick of the prom queen, prom king, popular kid mentality of being like the popular kids. That's who we should elect. That's who we should put in charge of the country. You mean those kids that didn't pay attention in school? That are too busy smoking, partying, doing drugs, and not giving a fuck about anything they were learning in civics class? Seriously? We should make the high school sweethearts the most powerful couple in the nation. Give me a fucking break. Give me a break. I tutored guys like Pete Hegseth. Oh shit, the lights went off. Oh yeah, I set them on record. I tutored guys like Pete Hegseth in my classes in high school. Okay? To all of you out there that went to high school with me, that were like copying off me or asking me to help with homework, you should be kissing my ass right now. Okay? I'm just being honest. You got through high school on my fucking back, okay? And that's the thing. As a nation, as a collective people, we need to stand up to these quote-unquote popular kids because that shit doesn't fly anymore. At a certain age, you become an adult. You become an adult. Yeah, there it is. Equal playing field, right? So all those kids in high school that were copying off my homework or my assignments, hey, you're fucking welcome. You would have never made it if it weren't for me. And that's what we need to do. We need to stop treating Pete Hegseth as if he's a legitimate leader or a legitimate person who is competent for the office that he runs. He's not competent. He's not a legitimate leader. The guy's a loser. Voted most likely to get married. High school sweethearts. This is a popular kid, and popular kids need to be reminded that hey, you had your time. You peaked in high school. Congratulations. You played decent on a JV or varsity football team. But in the real fucking world, it's people like me you're competing against. Okay? People like me who did all your assignments for you in my fucking sleep. Let's be real here. I'm serious. We need to start treating people as not legitimate cases for office. These are jokes. These are popular kids who barely paid attention. I just think it's pathetic. I think it's pathetic. I also think it's pathetic that he's an Iraq veteran. He served. And when you serve, you take an oath. You agree to certain values. You take an oath to support and defend the Constitution. And this guy is doing nothing but support and defend a guy, Donald Trump, who pisses on the Constitution and who breaks oaths. Which I'm not surprised that Pete is a cheater, cheated on his wife, because guys like that don't give a shit about oaths. But it does frustrate me when I see veterans in positions like this and having conduct like that. Does your word mean nothing to you? I'm just saying. I'm so sick of the popular girl mentality, like the popular kid mentality. I'm done. You guys aren't popular. You're not that cool. You peaked. You people like you, and you have a lot of friends, But when it comes down to it, you thrive off of people like me, the smarter, more educated, harder working motherfuckers, the real motherfuckers. That's what this comes down to. I'm talking about real motherfuckers versus fake ass McGee handsome motherfuckers, right? That's a line from a movie, 21 Jump Street, when he's like Mr. Fake ass handsome McGee when he was talking to Channing Tatum's character. I'm being honest though. We gotta actively condemn the popular kids. You guys aren't shit. Maybe you have 4 years of success in high school. That's it. That's all you got. The rest of it is a foundation of lies. Vanity Fair, Schwartz's younger brother had a lengthy phone conversation with Pete no longer believes in God and family values. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Here's the upon his return, he from Iraq, he ran a political advocacy group. Okay, despite difficulty kept together, they're living in different locations. Cool. He didn't follow through on a promise to move to Minneapolis. Okay. Insiders told the publication that it was consistent with the plans. Okay, so he didn't keep his word with his wife. I mean, I don't really care about that traveling part. Who gives a shit? I just want to see the part of where he cheated. Sources reveal that Schwartz is struggling in. Okay. In November 2018, he traveled to Minnesota in his Army uniform and confessed to being unfaithful to Schwartz. Sources said she was devastated by his betrayal and Hezbollah was consumed with guilt. If you're going to be guilty about cheating, why did you cheat in the first place? It's common sense. Why are you doing this? Why even get married if you're just going to have sex with somebody else or emotionally cheat, because that's still cheating too? What a joke, dude. Pete said he no longer believed in God and family values. The younger brother had a conversation with Hegseth. Got it. Okay. He claimed he no longer wanted to seek the limelight. And he said, and this quote is as clear as day, "I'm a fucked up individual." Schwartz tried to keep the marriage going because she loved him. However, when she noticed hotel room charges on her credit card that she didn't recognize, she confronted Schwartz. She confronted Hegseth, right? This is a typo. MSN. Come on, MSN. He couldn't give her a clear answer. According to the source, it later emerged that Hegseth had been at the hotels and with Samantha Deering, an employee of the Vets for Freedom. Oh, there it is. Pete Hegseth, Mr. Military Values, right? Make America great again, right? Make America great with an asterisk. Also cheat on your wife. Fuck you. Fuck you. I mean that. Fuck these cheaters. Hold on one second. My wife is texting me. She's shopping. I always like to say, God, you're there safe, you know. Hegseth went on to marry Samantha, but also he married her. He cheated on her with a Fox News producer. Dude, this guy can't keep it in his pants. Pete Hegseth, if you're watching this, if your team is watching this, you are a fucking joke. You cannot sit there and talk about, we gotta make the Army great again, make the military great again, get back to old school traditional military values when you're putting your dick in everything that fucking moves. You can't even keep an oath. You could even hold an oath close to you if it had handles on it. Okay? You couldn't keep an oath if it was duct taped to your fucking forehead. You'd find a way out of that. Hell, I'll go a step further. You couldn't even keep an oath if it was tattooed on you with permanent ink. Somehow it'd wash off. Okay. Hegseth, okay, so he cheated on her, yeah. Just 2 months after the birth, he was accused of sexual assault. Oh, wait. He went on to marry, but also cheated on her, with whom he had a child. Wait. He had a child? Pete Hegseth had a child with Jennifer, right? Hegseth, Jennifer, child, right? Did he have a child? I'm confused. Did he have a child with her? The article is not very clear to me. Come on, MSN, do better, dude. How hard is it to write? Oh, yeah, okay. So he had a child with her. Got it. He had 5 affairs. He confessed to Schwartz. 5 affairs. Yeah, got it. Okay. Well, this guy's a joke. Let's continue. Okay, again, we're watching Michael Knowles, Piers Morgan, but fuck Pete Hegseth. He's a joke.
Provided to the committee, Mr. Chairman, and I know you're going to share. on the record statement after on the record statement from people who have served with me.
I'll be honest with you, I don't give a fuck about your military service if you're fucking everything that moves. If you're showing me that you don't have character to keep your marriage intact and keep the oath that you took, I don't give a shit about your service. I don't care if you're a war hero. I'm serious. I expect better. I expect better from people who served, especially people who act like they're fucking war heroes. It matters to me. It matters that my leaders are consistent across the board, that they can resist temptation. I mean it. I'm not talking about be abstinent, but don't cheat on your partner. And if you're unhappy with them, then get a divorce and then date somebody else. It's really easy. I think you're way worse if you're a cheater than you are a divorcee. I know Catholics and Christians in general, they hate divorce, but you are way better off. I think you're a better person if you get a divorce before you cheat on somebody. Just do that. And then find the person that you're better off with. Like, what the fuck is that shit?
He worked with me at Fox News, Concerned Vets, Vets for Freedom.
Vets for Freedom. Fuck the girl from Vets for Freedom. Cheated on his wife. Fuck the woman from Fox News. Cheat on his wife. You're right. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
You name it. From the top of the chain to the bottom. Who will say I treat them with respect?
From the top of the chain to the bottom, I will fuck anything that moves. My name is Pete Hegseth. I'm kidding.
With kindness.
Hey, man.
With dignity.
No holds barred here, buddy. No holds barred. I am so sick and tired of seeing guys like you or guys like Tim Kennedy who pretend they're like fucking war heroes and yet they're outed as liars. Like Tim Kennedy lied about a medal he got or a Bronze Star. Like, I'm so sick of these liars, man. I'm tired of it.
That's men, that's women, that's black, that's white, that's every background. I have prided myself as a leader of respecting people, being professional.
Michael, I thought that was quite an effective response, really, because a lot of it is just innuendo, hearsay, unsubstantiated allegation. Other stuff has been settled, as Wajahat says. That's not uncommon in America. It's incredibly common for people to do NDA settlements or whatever with no blame or liability attached. Where do you sit with this? I mean, it looks like Hegseth is going to get...
I don't know about you. That's not common.
Sorry?
That's not common, not for me. I don't know about you, but that's not common.
I'm not saying for you or me.
There's a police report where I sexually assaulted a woman and I signed her to an NDA. In America,
that kind of settlement is not uncommon, is my point. Just generally, in the American system, a lot of things get settled that way without any admission of liability or wrongdoing, which is the case with...
Well, yeah, but I'm not saying a settlement's bad, but a settlement isn't great. I mean, it sometimes, for the most part, means that something was admitted, but there's not enough to go to trial, or there's not enough to proceed further. Like, in a high-profile case, when a settlement is reached, it typically means that the guilty party says, you know what, I'm going to agree to a certain point, so let's just settle out of court, pay you some money, let's drop it now. It's not an official admission of guilt, but I wouldn't say that it's completely benign. But again, Piers is an idiot, and he's a shill for the right. I would say, no, Piers is smart, but he is a shill for the right, and he pretends to play dumb in order to get engagement and agreements from the people who are currently in control of most of the major media. Piers has absolutely no spine, is what I'm trying to say.
Pete Hegseth. Michael, where do you sit with this?
Well, so much of what Wajahat just said is not true, or as you point out, Piers, is completely unsubstantiated, like the allegations that Pete Hegseth shows up trying to work. Excuse me one second, Wajahat. I've been on that morning show with Pete a number of times. I've been in studio with him a number of times. The only thing you could accuse Pete of is being too alert and energetic. I found it overwhelming, actually, while I was there, tired, trying to dust the...
I'll be honest with you, I don't really care about the drunk thing. I mean, I've said it before in comments, sure, but if you don't show up to work, he's an official, Department of War employee. Don't show up to a federal job drunk. Please don't fucking do that. Your job, your PTSD, whatever the fuck is driving you to drink and show up to work, is not like that hard. Fucking deal with it, okay? There's no excuse for a general to be fucking drinking a scotch in his office when he's working. Okay, grow the fuck up. I'm serious. Grow up. However, I don't really care if Pete Hegseth is showing up to a podcast or a conversation, with a little bit of a drink in his cup or whatever. I don't care. As long as you're not driving, right? And you're not operating dangerous machinery. If you're just having a casual conversation, I don't give a shit. Have some whiskey. Have some scotch. I don't care. It doesn't matter. But don't show up to your federal job, right? At the Pentagon or where, I'm just saying it as an example. Don't show up to your federal job under the influence. Like, have some fucking professional, have some respect for yourself, your peers, and the office of which you represent. It's common sense. Not saying that Pete did that. I don't really want to focus on those allegations. I don't think they're really that important. If he was drinking there, it's wrong. He should stop doing it. But I think the cheating is definitely more indicative of his character and how far he will go to lie, or how easy it is for him to break an oath. That matters more to me. That lets me in, gives me a little insight to how his mind works. I think it's more important than him having an occasional drink at work, which I don't agree with. He shouldn't do it, but I think there are better things to focus on.
The sand out of my eyes. But you suggest that the graduate of Princeton and Harvard, who for decades has been in the U.S. military, served his country honorably, that he's somehow unqualified to work at the Pentagon. The most egregious accusation you make against him, though, is that he's an extremist because he has a tattoo. Could you tell us what the tattoo is?
The tattoos specifically, I did not make the allegation that he's an extremist. It was actually
you
his
repeated the
fellow
allegation.
colleague
So what's
who
the
called him
tattoo?
as an insider threat.
I gotta shield myself from the
right. So what's the tattoo?
I can tell you. It says
it was his fellow
No, hang on,
colleague.
let Wajahat answer, because Wajahat raised it. Hang on, Wajahat raised the tattoo.
Go ahead.
Wajahat, it's a fair question. What is this tattoo that you're so upset about?
It was his colleague. Wait. Two things.
Wajahat, hang on. Simple question. What is this tattoo that you're so upset about?
I want to know.
I wasn't the one upset about it. I was talking about his fellow colleague. This is exactly what I said. His fellow colleague.
Do you know what it was?
In the U.S. Army, called him out as a potential insider threat.
Well, what is the
I think that's important. If that quote is true, I don't really want to fact check some of these quotes right now. I don't think that's the main focus. Not for what I'm trying to talk about today, okay? Not for this, okay? But if that's true, if his colleague said that publicly and said, I think this guy's an insider threat, okay. I think it's fair. I think it's fair. I have, okay. Overview of tattoos from Pete Hegseth. Deus vult, this Latin phrase translates to God wills it, and originated as a battle cry during the Crusades. Okay, what were the Crusades? That's why we're making this video, right? We're finally here on the topic. The Crusades were I have this pulled up. The Crusades were a series of religious wars launched by European Christians to reclaim the Holy Land, Jerusalem, from Muslim control. There were 9 major Crusades, and plus several smaller ones. Okay, I want to be very clear, by the way. I have ChatGPT on another monitor. Okay, I have sources in there. I also have tabs open up. I'm using every possible resource I can potentially find to educate myself on the current topic. Okay, I have all these tabs open. I have multiple browsers open. I'm fucking ready. Okay, now, why did the Crusades happen? Okay, and I want to be very clear. I don't think there's anything wrong with using ChatGPT if you're aiding your ability to learn something. If you're using it as a crutch to write a paper or write a research assignment or debate somebody, I think it's pretty sad. But if you have notes, if you have tabs open, and you have like a bunch of different resources, I don't mind using a tool. We need to stop treating ChatGPT the way we treated Wikipedia. It can work as long as you're aware enough and you're smart enough to disagree when something looks off, or to fact check yourself. I'm always fact checking and correcting ChatGPT. You have to. You have to. Think of it as like having an assistant that works with you. You still have to trust but verify. You always have to do that. So anyway, if you don't like ChatGPT, don't like Wikipedia, you can suck my balls. That's the truth. But anyway, why do the Crusades happen? The Pope kicked off the First Crusade to liberate Jerusalem, but it was also about power consolidation for the church, redirecting violent European knights away from fighting each other, and securing trade routes and wealth in the East. It wasn't always religious. It was political and economic. And why do we fight wars? Typically, it's politics or economics, resources, right? Here's why I have a problem with the Crusades, right? Having a tattoo that is a literal crusade battle cry. The Crusades massacred Jews, Muslims, and even other Christians during the sack of Constantinople in 1204. They founded short-lived Christian states in the Middle East, like the Kingdom of Jerusalem. The violence wasn't noble. It was bloody imperialism in a cross-shaped wrapper. I like that little cross-shaped wrapper. It's true though, right? The Crusades weren't a noble thing. I say this all the time when I'm arguing with people, Christians, okay? The Crusades were not a high point in your history, okay? It is a massive low point. It's the most violent thing that you can cite. It makes you all look horrible. What else? Kafir. Hegseth has a tattoo of an Arabic word kafir, which translates to infidel or non-believer. This term is often used in Islamic texts to refer to someone who rejects or does not believe in Islam. The tattoo is on criticism for its perceived hostility towards Muslims, especially given its placement near the dais belt tattoo. Yes, so he hates infidels. He hates Islam. He also hates somebody that doesn't believe in what he believes in. You can call somebody that doesn't believe in what you believe in an infidel, or it's a non-believer, right? That's what it means. These are extreme tattoos. I don't think they're illegal, and I don't even really care about the morality. I just think that somebody with those tattoos should probably not represent a democratic republic. We should not have a Secretary of War or the Secretary of Defense, formally, have tattoos that say God wills it, an infidel? Seriously? You're not a religious leader. You are a leader of a war-fighting department. A war-fighting department that does not fight religious wars. If anything, we aid our allies in conflicts and we fight proxy wars or resource wars, but we don't typically do religious wars. That's not your purpose. Your purpose is to, essentially, what the military's purpose is to be a peacekeeper, not war fighters. We mostly do peacekeeping missions now, right? But that's what we do. That's what I was told. I was an Army officer. 2/3 of what the Army does is peacekeeping initiatives. You are not a holy war crusader fighting a holy war. You're not. You're a representative of the United States of America, not a religious nation. Another significant tattoo is Jerusalem cross, associated with the Crusades, Christian nationalism. Tattoos also contribute to the perception of Haggis tattoos. So he's got the Jerusalem cross. Is that what I think it is? What is that? Is that the cross? Is that the Jerusalem cross? Yeah. So that's not okay.
The tattoos on his chest.
What is the tattoo?
Also, I called him an extremist based upon his own book. Read the book,
what
American
is the
Crusade,
tattoo?
his own words.
If you don't know what the tattoo is, just admit it.
Oh my Lord! Listen,
would you
what is it?
tell you what the tattoo is?
I want to wait.
No, I'm genuinely intrigued. Do you know what it is or not?
We got a panelist.
Let him talk, dude. He can't talk. They keep cutting him off. Man, I would love to go on his show, but I think I'd have to agree with him. I have to have like a lawyer with me. I have to agree to let Piers let me talk. You can't talk over, three people, because I'm pretty sure the woman in pink is on this guy's side, I think. I think that's their, like, they typically bring on 1 to 2 leftists or people that disagree with them. Here's the thing. If you're going to ask this guy questions, let him talk. Let him talk about what he thinks, why he thinks the tattoos are extreme. Like, you can't, this isn't, okay. You cannot have conversations and try to find common ground, or you can't debate somebody when all you do is scream over them. If you do what Piers is doing, or Michael's doing, or what Rubin is doing, if you do what they're doing, you are utterly, without a shadow of doubt, you're a coward. If all you can do is scream over the person that you're supposed to have a debate with, you are a coward. And I will make it my mission. If I debate people like this who are this bad faith, I will call you cowards publicly, because that's cowardly to me. If you can't have a conversation, if you can't debate back and forth calmly, talking back and forth, if you are unable to do that, it tells me you have no spine, that you're a coward, and that you're pathetic and you're scared. Piers, you are supposed to be a professional journalist. Why are you acting like a Twitch streamer? Hell, why are you acting like Destiny? I've seen his videos where he brings his orbiters on there and they scream over each other like a bunch of angry little incels who've never seen the sun. Unreal to me that this is what passes for professionalism from conservatives. Unreal.
But John, do you know what it is or not?
She hasn't spoken yet. A woman hasn't spoken yet.
She's going to come. She's going to answer the question you're not answering. Final question to you,
I did answer it, but
final
chance.
I
got my colleague right here.
Be honest, Vijay. Do you actually know what that tattoo is or not?
Listen, what I do know is I read his book, and in his book, if you read it, called American Crusade, in his book, wait a second,
be honest.
His book,
be honest.
I am. Look,
ironically,
you guys are putting lipstick on a pig,
no one's going to crucify you if you don't know the
Donald
answer.
Trump,
but do you know the answer?
This guy should try to answer it though. Like he's talking about a book that he read. Answer the fucking. Okay. They're not going to let him talk. They're going to keep cutting him off. They will. They're doing it now. Okay, they're doing it right now. Okay. But he's also not answering the question. So, like, come on, answer the fucking question, dude.
Our national security at risk for Pete Hexon. I'm telling you everything, and you guys are finding ways to spin. Why are you guys okay with a man who has an NDA with a woman that he allegedly...
I don't give a fuck about the NDA. I know the cheating is bad, but let's focus on the topic. We can talk about that later, but focus on the topic at hand, okay? Yes, the cheating matters. I made a large part of this video about that, but focus on the tattoo. I have the meaning right here. Dude, this guy looks like he's sitting in his home, right? Pull the fucking tab. Another tab, and right here, like I'm doing right now. It's okay to do that. Piers has notes. He has a prompter. He has people feeding him lines, probably. I'll do it too. I'll go on that show and I'll talk about it. Why not? Here's the meaning. The Deus Vult, the Kafir, the Jerusalem cross. Like, it's all very suspect. Infidel or not, we don't say people are infidels in this country. That's not what Americans do. We look down on cultures that deem others as infidels. We fought wars against them. We still fight conflicts against them. Come on.
Sexually assaulted.
Do you know what the tattoo is that you got so upset about?
It was his colleague. His colleague called him out as an insider threat, not me. His colleague.
People on my threads will accuse me of moving the goalposts when I use quotes from people I'm disagreeing with, and I use actual facts from a conversation. Like this, like for example, I'll rail against Hassan Piker. Hassan said this thing, and I'll use a direct quote that he said, or something he did on stream. You're moving the goalposts. I'm literally talking about the thing that he did. I'm only talking about this. I'm not moving goalposts. I'm talking about that thing. But this guy right here, he's moving the goalpost. That's moving the goalpost. He's not answering the question. They're not going to let him talk at all, but he's not even at least trying to answer the question. He's not.
Simple question.
And I also said, go to his book, read his words.
But just to be clear, Wajah,
you haven't got Pete stuff. I'm too extreme from the U.S. military. Pete Hexett's own words. Why are you okay with that, Michael?
You don't know,
Michael, why are you guys okay with that?
You don't know,
literally in his book, American Crusade, he says he's too extreme for the U.S. military.
You don't know, do you?
The power of Christ compels you.
Oh my gosh! All right, let's look it up right now.
I'd also love to know the names of some of the Fox colleagues.
Don't look it up. Let's go back to Michael. Michael, hang on, Michael. We gave him this chance. He obviously has no idea. Michael, what is the answer?
This falls along a threat as an insider threat.
I'm going back to Michael now.
2021 pegged Pete Hexett as a potential insider.
You had 98 chances to answer, and you failed the test.
Sorry. If my channel ever gets big enough, okay. I would like to go into Piers Morgan, and I would like to talk specifically about this topic. I don't know how timely it will be, but I would like to address that I think it's inappropriate for a Secretary of Defense, now Secretary of War, to have these tattoos. I think there are certain ones that we should maybe look at more critically than others. I don't think tattoos are bad, but I don't know if I want my Secretary of War / Secretary of Defense to have a tattoo that says God wills it. We are not a theocracy. We are a nation that was founded on freedom from religion and the freedom to express one's own beliefs, right? We are a nation with the First Amendment. We are a nation that rebelled against a tyrannical king because we wanted the freedom to express our own beliefs. We don't want to get punished for not believing in Christianity, okay? I don't want a Secretary of War or Secretary of Defense, whatever, to have a tattoo that says kafir, infidel, or non-believer. I don't want that. That is a bit extreme. We are not extremists. We're civilized people that have laws and amendments and certain freedoms, inalienable rights. We have the Bill of Rights, right, for every American citizen. The Jerusalem cross. It's associated with Crusades and Christianism. I don't want my Secretary of War being a Crusade sympathizer. I want him to be able. I want whoever is in that position to be able to recognize that was one of the most violent times in human history and violent times in Christian history. That we as a civilized people need to strive for peace and diplomacy. That is so important to being in a position like his. Even if you are leading a department of war fighters, it is important that you are able to be diplomatic. Let me debate him. Let me go on Piers Morgan. I will explain to you how easy this concept is. We deserve a leader that can be diplomatic. That's it. You're not just a department of war fighters. You are responsible for maintaining peace with our allies, negotiating with our enemies if possible. I'm not saying negotiate with terrorists. I'm saying try to be diplomatic. Try to create unity so that America doesn't have enemies until the end of time. I need a guy like John F. Kennedy who can lead us through a crisis. I need a president that can do that, but I would also appreciate if we had a defense secretary or generals that can do that can lead with strength and diplomatic skills. Oh shit! I stepped on the cord again. I have this like lamp on my desk that it's like plugged into the worst spot. It's not a great spot for a plug, honestly. I don't need a defense secretary who's in charge of the most expensive and most powerful military in all of human history, with infidel tattoos, crusade tattoos, and something saying that God willed it. A literal battle cry for the Crusades. I don't need that. We, as a nation that, desperately needs to heal internally, we don't need that when we're trying to strengthen relationships with our allies and keep our enemies and adversaries at bay. We don't need someone that will increase the temperature. I don't know why this is so hard for Republicans to just to think about. I need a real leader. We as a country, we need a real leader. Not a guy that wants to play soldier again.
I'm going to Michael. I'm going to Michael. Don't talk over each other.
Michael, don't need. I'll tell you something before we continue this. I don't need a guy like Tim Kennedy in a position of power with that kind of mentality. That's what Pete Hegseth has. He's got this like, fuck yeah, we're soldiers. Let's go fight wars. We're badass. Let's go fucking kick the down doors and shoot the enemy. I don't need a guy like Tim Kennedy in charge. That guy has problems. He's got PTSD. Something in his head. I did it again. Something in Tim Kennedy's head is wrong and wired incorrectly and not healthy. I need a real leader with education, with a master's degree preferably, with proven diplomatic relations, with proven strategy and tactical experience. I don't need a guy like Tim Kennedy who just wants an excuse to kill somebody else. I'm so sick of the uber ultra-violent G.I. Joe figure. We need a real courageous leader with morals and confidence and conviction and a plan for peace, not a plan for war. Keep the Tim Kennedys and the what's that Robert, who's the SEAL that killed who allegedly killed bin Laden? Bin Laden SEAL, whatever. Who's the guy who did that? Who did that? Who killed him? Robert McNeil? I know his Twitter handle. Who's the guy that did it? Hold on, I want to find this out. Who did this? Who killed? Okay, who killed bin Laden? It's that I know it's I have his face in my head right. This fucking guy. Okay, ex-Navy charged with DUI. It's kind of funny. What a loser. Aren't SEALs supposed to be the best of the best? I get that everyone makes mistakes, but this guy's at an age where you know better. You can't come on, he's fucking middle-aged. What's his name? I want to know his name. It's public record. I'm not doxing anyone, okay? Calm the fuck down. I can hear people saying on that already. Robert O'Neill. Got it, okay. I don't need a guy like Tim Kennedy or Robert O'Neill in charge of the biggest military. I don't need guys that are like itching to kill someone else. I don't need an ultra-violent soldier. That's not what makes a soldier great. A soldier's ability to do violence is not what makes them elite. It's their ability to practice restraint. That's what makes me believe in real soldiers and real leaders, and the real Green Berets and the real Navy SEALs, the guys that actually have any fucking legitimacy and credibility, are the ones that can exercise restraint. We are not a nation of violent sociopaths. We are a nation of leaders and highly skilled professionals that know when to hold back and know when to take the peaceful option. You don't join the military so you can kill people, Tim Kennedy. What a loser. Absolute disgrace to the uniform.
The tattoo in question is called a Jerusalem cross. This is a medieval Christian symbol, goes back a long time. In fact, at Jimmy Carter's funeral, there was a Jerusalem cross on the floor of the cathedral, and on the program for the funeral, there's one other tattoo that some have suggested could be extremist. It's the phrase Deus Vult, which is a medieval Christian slogan, a long traditional slogan that refers to God's will, and it goes back a long way. These are very traditional, very mainstream Christian symbols that not only are not extreme in any way, but which even the people who want to accuse him of extremism couldn't possibly name. That is pathetic.
And as for the cross that you talked about, yes, Deus Vult, which is the cross that he has, and the slogan that he has,
Deus Vult is
an old Christian cross. The part.
Yeah, but okay, she's wrong. She's an idiot. She's not at all prepared. Why do they bring these losers on their show? She's not prepared, okay? The Jerusalem cross is separate from Deus Vult, but they both have a similar, connection, right? They're both tied together, okay? It's associated with Crusades and Christian nationalism, and Deus Vult is an actual battle cry. It's a phrase, God wills it, from the Crusades. Can we just speak on the facts here? Michael Knowles is missing out on that.
And as for the cross that you talked about,
mainstream Christian symbols that not only are not extreme in any way, but which even the people who want to accuse him of extremism couldn't possibly name. That is pathetic.
Yeah, well, he's not wrong. You guys couldn't even admit what it was. These two were unprepared. These two are idiots. They're fucking fools. They couldn't even admit to what it was, what the tattoos were. Now, however, these are not common Christian symbols. The Jerusalem cross, to my understanding, I've been a Christian. Well, I'm not a Christian, but I grew up in a Christian household. Not a very common symbol, okay? And even if it were, it still has roots, deep ties to the Crusades, which is not a proud moment in Christian history. Michael is completely ignoring. He's like, oh, it goes way back. It doesn't go way back. It goes to the Crusades, okay? I mean, the Crusades... It created a massive amount of mistrust between Christianity and Islam. Islam will always remember that. It didn't save Europe. It destroyed it. Depleted resources, spread disease, because when you have all these people in one spot, they're spreading disease, right? They're dirty, they're bleeding, there's bodies everywhere, they're spreading disease. That's just factual, physical, right? Just term it in terms of physiology, right? And how diseases work. I don't know. These two are not prepared to have this conversation. It doesn't just go way back, Michael. It's a deeply fundamental symbol and phrase tied to the Crusades, a very violent time in Christian history.
And as for the cross that you talked about, yes, Deus Vult, which is the cross that he has, and the slogan that he has,
Deus Vult is
an old Christian cross.
Oh, she's an idiot. I'm sorry. I'm so sick of these idiots. But Piers Morgan brings them on. He brings them on because they don't know anything, and it makes his people look better. She's like, Deus Vult is a cross. It's a phrase, you moron. You fucking idiot. It's a phrase. Deus Vult is not a cross. Okay? I don't understand how she can be confused. Man, you should let me on these shows. I don't claim to know everything, but I'm here doing the research. I'm here reading things. I'm here asking questions. I'll go to Google, ask a question. And then it gives me sources and links and real articles to read. I'm actually here putting in the work. But these idiots with platforms, they're not putting any of the work in. They're just lazy.
The phrase, however, was uttered by Crusaders as they were slaughtering Jews and Muslims during the Second Crusade specifically. So it's not just a random cross. It's not just a random phrase.
That isn't true. The phrase
it's not true.
It is true.
The phrase was uttered after the Council of Clermont when
the phrase the Latin phrase trains to God wills it and originated as a battle cry during Deus Vult. Deus Vult origins. I don't know about this Council of Clermont. Okay, so she was wrong again. Not surprised. She's an idiot. But he was also... Wait a minute. Okay, he's right. Okay, Michael's pretty smart. See, when Michael uses facts, real facts, and he cherry picks, he gets some things right. But she's wrong. The phrase Deus Vult is closely associated with the First Crusade. Didn't happen during the Second Crusade. like she said. It matters. The accuracy matters. It is believed to have been used by Christian Crusaders as a battle cry, especially in their conviction that their military efforts to reclaim the Holy Land were divinely sanctioned. So Michael's wrong because he's not explaining that part. He's not saying that it was used as a battle cry. He's only citing that it was first chanted during it was first and only chanted as during the gathering of knights and clergy at the Council of Claremont, which it was likely first originated there, but it was mostly used. Like, you can't, Michael, you can't cite that, hey, it originated from there, but then ignore how it became more popularized or where it was used often, right? It matters that it was used as a battle cry. I wonder if he's going to mention that. I probably should watch the rest of the video. Although the exact words used at the time are debated, chroniclers like Robert the Monk recorded variations such as Deus Levolt or Deus Lovolt. Okay, let's watch.
Pope Urban II declared the crusade. And it was actually probably Dieu le Veult, but it's been rendered in Latin as Deus Volt.
Yeah, Dieu le Veult.
It has nothing to do with slaughtering Jews. It has nothing to do with slaughtering Muslims, because the
What? Crusaders massacred thousands of Jews, Muslims, and even Christians during the sack of Constantinople in 1204. Why did they happen? Power consolidation for the church, redirecting violent European knights away from fighting each other, securing trade routes and wealth in the East. It wasn't about slaughtering Jews, Muslims. Crusaders massacred thousands of Jews, Muslims, and even Christians. Dude, why are you lying? Why do these people lie when the facts are out there? It's so easy to look up facts. I'm not even an expert in Christianity, but for fuck's sake, I found it in like 3 seconds.
Muslims had invaded Europe, not the other way around.
Oh my God, are you really saying that the reason the crusade, which was sent to the Holy Land to liberate the Holy Land, from whom? From Jews and Muslims.
And that is a phrase.
I wonder how Ben Shapiro feels like that, because he's justifying that the Crusades happened to kill invaders. Yikes. Oh my God, dude. Look, knowing history, knowing what the Crusades was about, it means understanding that the Christians' Crusades, it was a combination of faith conversion, economic resources, power consolidation, wealth. But it was faith, bloodless, belief, greed, all these things, okay? All these things. To not even recognize that, to not even say that that's why the Crusades happened, what they're known for, tells me that you don't believe in reality, or you want to tailor it in a way that supports your own beliefs. You can't claim to know history and then deny the fact that the First Crusade especially started as a way to slaughter Muslims and Jews. I'm shocked here that it wasn't a noble cause, right? It was honestly, if you want to really think, because the church had a lot of power, and they still do now, it was the Vatican's attempt at imperialism, right? It's faith, greed, resources, power consolidation, bloodlust. That's all it was. I think Michael needs to brush up on his history a bit.
I'll tell you why the crusade began, because the Eastern Emperor asked for help from the Western Pope, because the Seljuk Turks were slaughtering Christians in the Holy Land, because those lands were Christian before the Muslims invaded in the 7th century. So
okay, I'm gonna. Okay. Why did the crusade happen? Let's look at Britannica. This is pretty trustworthy, okay? Crusades, military expeditions beginning in the late 11th century that were organized by Western European Christians in response to centuries of Muslim wars of expansion, okay? Their objectives were to check the spread of Islam, to retake control of the Holy Land in the Eastern Mediterranean, to conquer pagan areas and recapture formerly Christian territories. They were seen by many of their participants as a means of redemption and expiation for sins. It's odd that you can expect to expiate your sins through murder and conquest. I thought murder was wrong. I thought it was immoral. I thought it was a sin. Between 1095, when the First Crusade was launched, in 1291, when the Latin Christians were finally expelled from their kingdom in Syria, there were numerous expeditions to the Holy Land, to Spain, and even to the Baltic. The Crusades continued for several centuries until 1291. Crusading declined rapidly through the 16th century with the advent of Protestant Reformation and decline of papal authority. Yeah, when the Pope power declined a bit, then that shit stopped. because the Pope has very little power nowadays. And he still has a lot of power as far as influence is concerned, but as far as like these types of things, pretty much done. Approximately 2/3 of the ancient Christian world had been conquered by Muslims by the end of the 11th century, including the important regions of Palestine, Syria, Egypt, and Anatolia. The Crusades attempting to check this advance initially enjoyed success, finding a Christian state in Palestine and Syria, but continued growth of Islamic states ultimately reversed those gains. Here we go. The Crusades constitute a controversial chapter in the history of Christianity, and their excesses have been the subject of a century of historiography. Crusades also played an integral role in the expansion of medieval Europe. Yeah. This is a lot. And Michael's not really representing it accurately. Because he doesn't want to admit, well, he did, Maskoff said it was about to stopping Muslim expansion. But it was highly violent. And they treated Muslims and any non-believer as invaders. Jews, too, slaughtered Jews by the droves. I don't... Yeah, it may seem paradoxical that a council both promulgated peace and officially sanctioned war, but the peace movement was designed to protect those in distress. And a strong element of the crusade was the idea of giving aid to fellow Christians in the East. Tied to this idea was the notion that war to defend Christendom was not only justifiable undertaking, but a holy work and therefore pleasing to God. Closely associated with the Western concept of holy war was another popular religious practice, pilgrimage to holy shrine. I think it's wrong. This is like the full comprehensive history. I want some cliff notes because this video isn't, I can't do several hours of this. I don't want to do several hours of this. Maybe we can do a big breakdown later on. Yeah. The Crusades happened primarily due to the desire of Western European Christians to stop the expansion of Muslim states and proclaim the Holy Land in the Middle East. This is all you really need to know for having a debate with Michael, because he doesn't really know as much as he claims he does, and he cherry picks. They were organized after centuries of Muslim wars and expansion with the aim of recapturing territories that had previously been Christian. The Crusades were also motivated by the papacy's call for military campaigns promising spiritual rewards for participants. Yeah, power consolidation. There's no moral reason for this. They just wanted power and influence. Overall, they were a series of religious wars aimed to secure control of sacred sites considered both important by Christians and Muslims. Yeah, resources, holy lands. Yeah. Were the Crusades justified? Let's answer this question. Let's see what the internet says. Let's see what the predominantly of the resources say. Okay. Were the Crusades just war? Fact checked. How did the Christian Church justify the Crusades? Christian Church representing the source provided justified the Crusade primarily by recasting violence as morally permissible, even meritorious response to threats against Christians in sacred places. Contemporary defenders framed the campaigns as a form of bellum sacrum, holy war, and expansion of Augustine's just war ideas. Warfare could be lawful when undertaken for defense of the church, protection of pilgrims, or recovery of holy places. Pope was only Pope Urban II, and the First Crusade era promoted the expedition as an armed pilgrimage that combined penitential fervor with the martial duty, offering indulgences and remission of sins to participants. That fighting became both spiritual and political act. Canonical and theological defenses emphasized papal authority to mobilize Christendom, portraying the campaigns as responses to Muslim territorial expansion and measures to protect Eastern Christians and pilgrims who were purportedly faced persecution. Clerical writers and later apologists considered these themes consolidated these themes into a narrative where the spiritual beliefs, legal framework, and papal sanction together supplied moral legitimacy. Sources differ in some emphasis. I don't want to paint this. So basically, the Crusades were fought for resources, for power consolidation, for conversion. They were wholly violent. Christians are not the leading authority. I think it's twisted that they tried to defend this as some sort of high point.
That's why.
No. Those
good
Crusades,
to know Michael's pro-Crusade. You'll get along really well with Pete Hegseth.
Those lands became Christian after the First Crusade. Okay, so let's be very clear.
The lands were Christian in the first and second centuries, and then the Muslims. Islam didn't exist before the 7th century. What are you talking about?
Okay, I could go, listen. I can go all day if you want to talk about the Crusades, but the point is, I can also show you literature
where
people.
Maybe we should switch the debate.
But what that has to do with Pete Hegseth is it's not that he has a random cross.
look, we can go back on all day on the Crusades. We can. But the problem I have with that is that Pete Hegseth is not a religious leader. This is not a religious Christian nation. This is not the Vatican. Okay, this is not 1095. Europe, right? This is America in 2025, a nation founded on freedom of religion, founded on secular ideals. Okay, I don't want the leader of the Secretary of Defense, Department of War, right? I don't want. I don't want the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War in the DOD or DOW. I don't want him. I don't want a fervent crusade supporter or far right Christian nationalist. I don't want that. We are not a nationalist Christian nation. Okay, we are a secular nation founded on secular ideals: freedom from religion, freedom to express your beliefs, freedom of speech. Right? I don't want the leader of the most powerful military in the history of the fucking world. In a democratic republic being a Crusades guy. And he has tattoos, 2 of them specifically, that are specifically linked to the Crusades. The Jerusalem cross and the phrase, if God wills it. I don't want that. That's wrong. That is not what America stands for.
That talks about his faith in Jesus Christ. He used a very specific terminology. But putting all of that aside, a phrase
that was first uttered to defend persecuted Christians in the Middle East, just like they're being persecuted today.
Okay. Yeah. If you want to talk about the
Christians are not being persecuted, and do you want to know how I know that? A guy with two crusade tattoos, right, is the Secretary of War. It has one of the most powerful positions in our countries, in political history, in the history of the free world, in our nation's military. He has one of the most powerful positions in the entire world right now. Christians are not persecuted. Okay, they're the ones, as evidence from the Crusades, that go around killing people that don't believe in what they believe in, taking land, taking resources that don't belong to them. Christians are not persecuted. They are the ones doing the persecution, and history shows it, right? The right will say the left doesn't know about Crusades. What they actually mean by that is they won't romanticize religious violence as heroism, right? I'm not going to sit there on the left and say the Crusades was a noble cause. It was a bloody, violent, and horrible time in Christian history. Knowing history means acknowledging, like I said before, that the Crusades were a faith and bloodlust and grief-driven motivation. It's not a proud moment in human history, and it's not a proud moment in Christian history.
Who you want as the Secretary of Defense? Wonderful.
Someone who defends the persecuted.
I don't want the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of War being a guy that has crusade tattoos, that believes in religious expansion and imperialism. That's not religious imperialism. I don't care about U.S. imperialism. I'm not talking about that right now. I don't want a guy in charge of the Secretary of Defense who is a religious imperialist. I don't want that. That's gross to me. Okay, that's not what America is about.
Julie, finish your point. Julie, finish your point, and I'll go to Michael. To Dave.
My point is that I cannot even believe that something the Vatican apologized for is something you're defending, which is the slaughter of Jews and Muslims during the Crusades.
What did the Vatican?
Excuse me, the Vatican said the Crusades.
What are you talking about?
Oh my Jesus! You know what? Why don't you give me a call after this, and I will walk you through exactly.
All right, let's try and bring things back.
Talk to her one-on-one on without peers or these other idiots. Okay, one-on-one. Have a real conversation. Be a fucking man. Instead of deflecting or cherry picking or saying that the phrase it came from a clerical meeting, a discussion, and not mention the fact that it was a Deus Vult. Where's the fucking thing? I lost it. The Deus Vult was a battle cry. He didn't even mention that.
The treatment of Muslims in the Crusades. But if you want to talk about,
we'll do a separate Crusades debate another time. I have a home in LA, which thankfully is still standing, and I hope it continues to.
Michael Knowles, this leftist knows nothing about the Crusades. You know a lot more than you let on, and you cherry pick what the Crusades actually were. Also, Vatican. That's what I was looking at. Oh, nice. Well, if the Vatican apologizes, what are you still doing defending it? What are you doing ignoring it and cherry picking it to support your claims? The Vatican has made several apologies for the Crusades, reflecting on the Church's acknowledgement of its past actions and need for reconciliation. Here's some key points regarding the Vatican's response. Pope John Paul II, right? Issued a broad apology to us, acknowledging the Church's sins of the past during Jubilee year. He specifically apologized to the indigenous people of South America in 92 for the pain and suffering caused during the Church's 500-year presence in the Americas. Wow. If the Pope is apologizing, don't you think you should too? Michael, are you saying that you have more authority than the fucking Pope regarding religious matters? Michael, you might as well be a layman compared to the goddamn Pope. The Pope's visits to Greece in 2001 marked the first time in nearly 1,300 years the Vatican had visited Greece, further emphasizing the Church's commitment to reconciliation. The apology process has been ongoing, with the Vatican addressing various historical wrongs and seeking forgiveness from different groups, including indigenous peoples and the Orthodox Church. These apologies reflect the Vatican's recognition of its historical wrongs and desire to engage in dialogue and reconciliation with various communities affected by the Crusades. I think that's pretty great. If the Vatican is on an apology tour, they're like, oh shit. Michael's like, this is going to ruin the tour. What tour? The Crusades tour. No, but for real, if the Vatican is on an apology tour, right, then don't you think that it's possible that the Crusades were actually a low point? They can recognize that, fuck, we really fucked up. We killed all these people and oppressed them for hundreds of years, for 1,000 years maybe. Wow, we need to fix this. We need to fix this. Yikes. If the Vatican is recognizing that they were wrong, maybe it's time that you admit it too. And you, Michael, do not have higher authority than the fucking Pope
to do so. But I know so many people who've lost their homes who are incandescent with rage about what they perceive to be persistent failures right across the board of the mayor, Karen Bass, who fled the country, having said she'd never leave the country. She went to Ghana for an inauguration.
I think we changed the conversation from the Crusades. I don't know what this is reference to.
As these winds were coming in, as fires were breaking out, unbelievable dereliction of duty. You've got the Justin Trudeau of the operation in Gavin Newsom, who I think deserves a lot of heat, literally, for what is going on here, and a lot of accountability. So this idea that they all should be blameless, because, nature, I think is for the birds, isn't it?
Of course. And Whoopi's argument here that this was unpredictable and inevitable would be more persuasive if you hadn't had many people, up to and including President Trump, personally warning Gavin Newsom that this would happen in 2018, 2019. Just at the end of last year in 2024. It was not inevitable and an act of nature that 95% of Delta rainwater was sent into the Pacific Ocean rather than filling reservoirs. It wasn't an act of nature that the Pacific Palisades Reservoir was empty, was turned off before the predictable, perennial Santa Ana winds. It was not unpredictable that you'd have 100-mile-an-hour winds. That happens regularly in LA. It was not nature and inevitable that LA wouldn't have cleared its brush. These were basic political problems.
I don't know why this section. Does Michael not have an editor? Look, I'm just gonna claim it right now. I've been making YouTube videos for maybe a week now. I'm not editing anything of mine. I mean, I don't want to be honest with you. I like having these conversations, reacting to videos. I don't want to do like editing or documentary stuff right now. This is a hobby right now. I really don't want to pour any more into it and have it be like a stressful endeavor. You know what I mean? Like, this is fun for me. I can put a video on. I can record myself talking. It's fun. But my question is, Michael, you work at a professional news organization. You work for the Daily Wire. You have your own channel, your own thing going. Do you not have an editor? Why? We're talking. This is a whole minute, 8:42 about the Crusades, and then you guys talk about the wildfires. Like, what? I mean, why are we pivoting to that? Like, just don't include that part. But did he? Oh, I know why he did that. Oh, I should look. I'm new. I'm kind of new to this whole YouTube thing, but I'm pretty sure he did that to push it over 10 minutes. I think there's like an incentive to make a 10-minute minimum video, like 10 or longer. Well, you know what? Honestly, we've been going at this for an hour now. I think I've said what I had to say about the Crusades. It's clear that Michael doesn't. That he knows a lot about it, but he will cherry pick and pick certain things that defend his viewpoints of the Crusades, not even recognizing that the Vatican has been apologizing for it for the past 20 years. Also, these guests that Piers brought on, this gentleman and this woman here, they're both jokes. They don't really know a lot. They aren't prepared. I would just wish Piers would bring on somebody like me who actually is prepared. But again, I'm not famous, so I'm not like a super famous journalist or civil rights attorney or like a publication, publicist, or I'm not like famous, you know what I mean? So I won't go on there unless I have a big platform. But I could do these debates better than these two fucking clowns. That's for a fact. Jesus, it's not hard to prepare over for like basic history and conversations. Really not. Okay. Anyway, look, I thank you so much for watching. I am Scott. I really, really appreciate those of you that have recently subscribed. I might make a short YouTube short. A short YouTube short. I might make a short. Who wears short shorts? I do not wear short shorts anymore. I will make a YouTube short saying this basically, but thank you for subscribing. If you've subscribed recently, like, share, subscribe, comment. I really like this format, having, talking to people out there and having conversations. So thank you so much. It's such an exciting thing to do, and I love it. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys later for another video. Peace out.